Good morning and welcome back to another video, and today is the top 5 best shuffles that you can do right now to make gold. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Now this one's a fairly easy one in order to do, and I find this to be quite easy to actually just perform. All you're going to need to have is be a tailor and make sure that you are able to have the recipe in order to turn fell cloth into moon cloth. You learn this at your training master for classic stuff, so just go to Stormwind and go to your tailoring trainer and you should learn it. Next thing that is required is by having a moonwell. Moonwells are found in either Darnassus or they can be found in Ashenvale and also Darkshore. The moonwell is what you have to stand in order to cleanse the fell cloth. So what you really need to do is buy or farm up the different types of fell cloth. Well, in this case it is a shuffle, so you're going to be buying off the auction house. You then buy a load of these, and by having 2 fell cloth you can make 1 moon cloth. You go into the moonwell and then you just create your moon cloth. The only thing with mooncloth is it takes a little bit longer to sell, so if you're on a low-end server, I would recommend skipping this shuffle altogether. If you're on a medium to high-end server, it's probably worth your time if you can see that there is a bit of a profit. And other than that, and following on with profit, double checking that the fell cloth and the moon cloth actually coincide. So if fell cloth costs 10 gold for 1, it's going to cost you 20 gold to make 1 moon cloth. So it's got to be more than double of what you're paying than your fell cloth. So make sure that you double check your moon cloth to your fell cloth before doing the shuffle, otherwise you will lose gold. The second shuffle that I would recommend is the Tidespray braces. Now Tidespray linen can be farmed up on multiple different types of instant respawn farms. The most notable of them is the one in Drustvar, which is located near the Waycrest Manor. The other thing that you would want to do is also buying it off the auction house straight up. The Tidespray linen at this moment in time does not have a huge amount of value to it, so it is actually cheaper for you to just create the braces with the Tidespray linen and using enchanting, disenchanting this for gloom dust and or the other types of enchanting materials, and then just selling those flat out on the auction house. You can then also create different types of enchants in order to make more profit, but realistically, if you want to make a quick sale flip, obviously double checking your rate of gloom dust prices towards your Tidespray, so making sure that you do the math before you do this. But other than that, it is quite a viable way in order to make some steady gold, because Tidespray linen and the enchanting materials such as gloom dust sells quite fast in the grand scheme of things, as you're really just converting a crafting material into another crafting material. And to be honest, most enchanting materials sell for a decent amount of gold. Just make sure that you double check how much they are actually going for, and this goes for pretty much all of the shuffles going forward, to match the prices before and after by doing a small sample test or just doing the math in general. In at number 3 we have the Spirit of Harmony flip. Now the Spirit of Harmony flip is relatively simple, to be honest. All you have to do is go over to the auction house, pick up a Spirit of Harmony, and go over to the Spirits of Harmony vendor, which is located in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Even if you are Horde or Alliance, there is a vendor for the Spirits of Harmony, and purchase the Trillium Ore. Now for 1 Spirit of Harmony you get 5 Trillium Ore, and this could be either white or black depending on your preference. I usually double check how much they're each going for, so say for instance the Spirits of Harmony are going for 100 gold a piece. Now say that the Trillium Ore is selling for around about 50 gold per piece. The Trillium Ore will come up to around about 250 gold for a stack of 5, and you're spending 100 gold to make 250 gold. This is the basic premise of this actual flip, and I do this one quite regularly to make gold because I find that Spirits of Harmony are relatively underpriced when it comes to doing this flip, so I find this to be the most effective way in order to make a decent amount of steady gold just by switching crafting materials into another crafting material using that vendor, which is in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms once again. Number 4 is one of my most used shuffles that I like to do, and that is your Winter's Kiss to Crimson Ink. The Winter's Kiss to Crimson Ink shuffle is relatively simple. All I do is I match the price of the Winter's Kiss in my mass milling. So I've got my mass milling right here, and what I do is I have my little macro, which I'm going to show on screen right now. And what I do is double check the amount of that's in my bags, or the gold value, so to speak, in my bags. So I purchase a stack of Winter's Kiss, relatively around about a stack of 200, and mass mill it quickly. And then before I've done that, I check how much that it's worth. And then afterwards, I check how much it's worth after that, which is the pigments. After that has been done, I then craft it all into the different types of viridescent inks, crimson inks, and the ultramarine inks, and then double check the prices. Now, note to self, the pigments take a lot longer in order to sell on the auction house. They do sell, but they take a lot longer than the actual inks in particular. It's well worth your time just going AFK and just crafting all of these inks, as it doesn't cost an awful lot of gold in order to do this. The bulk of the majority of the different types of gold you will have a return on your investment is the viridescent and the crimson ink. The ultramarine ink is kind of one of those ones where it's just a residue afterwards of the entire mass milling process to ink process, but the simplistic nature of it is just quite easy in order to do. It is well worth your time using this macro, double checking how much it's worth in your bags beforehand and how much it is after, and like once you've crafted them all into the inks, to see if you can actually make a profit on this with a small sample size, as opposed to just buying a 10-ton of it and not even checking. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to lose gold when it comes to a shuffle. Which brings us into our last one, which is the Maroon Ink Shuffle. Now, all you have to do is get hold of some Anathid, which is the new herb in BFA, which can be farmed up in Najdatar. You can also buy this off of the auction house for a fairly decent price, and on average you will make a high profit at this moment in time crafting it into the maroon ink. Obviously you do get the pigments once again from this, but at the end of the day the pigments take a lot longer to sell than as opposed to the maroon ink. Note to self, the pigments do show that they sell for a lot more than the actual ink, but please negate this or just completely just blindside it, because that's not a true reflection of how much it's really going for, because people are going for the inks, not the pigments, unless someone's completely stupid. But any person that does crafting on the daily or the weekly or just in general will know to go for the actual inks as opposed to the pigments. But other than that, you can move on to, if you have the rep with your inscription, start creating the contracts for even more profit. This will help you gaining more gold overall, but at the end of the day, the baseline shuffle of turning it into maroon ink will provide you with a lot of gold. Other than that, the contracts will actually provide you with a lot more gold in the long run, as it is behind a reputation wall, so it's worth you getting your reputations up to create more gold with this shuffle. Other than that, guys, that is pretty much the 5 best shuffles that you can do right now to make gold. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be on Wednesday. Take it easy, guys.
Yeah.